O'clock. Thank you. I'll throw this at you.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
There's the man that's, isn't he the vice president? That's right, he is. Isn't Bill Thunberg the
What?
vice president?
What's that?
You're the co-executive.
Oh, no, I remember that vote well.
You should give me $5 to make a motion, didn't you?
Yeah.
Gil, how you doing?
Good.
Always a pleasure seeing you.
Bill Thunderberg.
Carol Kettlefield.
Hi, Carol, glad to meet you.
Nice to meet
You know me?
Yes, ma'am, good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
All right, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. This is, Joshua Type B Economic Development Corporation Parks Board holding a special meeting today at City Hall, June the 3rd, 2024 at 4 p.m. I'll open the meeting, call to order, quorum's present. What are we missing?
There's somebody in.
Kim Carter.
Kim Carter.
Sarah Watt, who is a alternate.
Anybody from the public want to speak? I guess not. All right, so we'll move on to regular agenda, discuss, consider, and possible action on the allocation of funds for a 30th of July celebration. Mr. Peacock.
So there's been some expressed interest in doing some sort of a celebration like we did prior to pre-COVID, I guess you could say. But we were looking at things other than fireworks, just because we don't have a good place to set them off. The areas that we've used previously is now a residential neighborhood and a place where they could be shot off and people could see reasonably easy. There's just not much options from the stadium. So we've looked at a couple of other options that we've talked about in the past. One was a drone show, using, well, anywhere from 100 up to, I think they just set a record with 2,000, I believe, drones in a choreographed show. These drones are $300 an hour to each. And so it doesn't take long to, and the hundreds the minimum, so you're talking about 30 grand for a drone program. And from looking on their website and looking at what you get, it's a pretty impressive show. They do a lot of different figures, the Statue of Liberty, the Liberty Bell, they do a flag, they do a jet fighter, just a bunch of patriotic different pictures.
For how long?
The drones are lit up. The show would last 20, 25 minutes. Same, kind of about the same as fireworks, so about the length of time it takes to lose interest in the kids. And so that would be, you're looking at in a $30,000 neighborhood. They are local, so it wouldn't be a big deal to have that production done. The other option we looked at was a laser light show. And the laser light show is coming in at around $20,000. That one we could set up directly in the stadium. They could actually bounce the lasers off of structures in the stadium, where we wouldn't have to put up a lot of screens to see what's happening. But these are done low level because of FAA restriction. We can't shoot them directly up in the air and all that kind of stuff, but they take care of all that. But with that program, we'll also have some hotel expenses. We have to put, their people, and I'm not sure how many, I've asked him, I think he told me one room, is all they needed. So we would have that expense added with
That's
it.
cheap, that'd be most expensive.
Well, I wouldn't put him in this one.
I was joking.
Just saying. And then as I guess the third option, we could go back to looking at conventional fireworks and trying to find a place where we could activate or set these off where people could park in the parking lot of the high school. We could use the detention pond, maybe, depending on the distance of the apartments. We might have some areas out there we could shoot them off from. But we also wanted to do some other things that we've done in the stadium in the past to have the alleyway opened up underneath the stand so that businesses could set up. We'd like to do a Dunkin' booth. I think there's been talk about donating the proceeds, charging so much for 2 or 3 balls, whatever it is, and you dunk the person. The mayor actually suggested this morning that if we do that, maybe for the 3 balls, if you dunk them out of that, you get a ticket, and then later that afternoon at some point, we draw for a $50 gift card for whoever wins that ticket. Just to have a few things to give away. The cheerleaders, I think, have done face painting and stuff in the past. We've offered up the athletic booster clubs opportunities for the concession stands to make a little money. They don't normally participate. They're not really well organized during the summer because everything is closed, and we may not have participation there either, but I'm sorry.
The Sweethearts want it.
They want to, okay.
Yes.
So I mean, there may be some, the band, we've sometimes have struggled to get a hold of and get them involved in parades that we've tried to do, but it's, like I say, it's that time of year, people are gone. But the chamber, is involved. Kim she can explain whatever stuff they've got going on. I know that we're trying to find some sponsors. I was told today that one of the bands that we were considering has been sponsored and will be paid free to us to play. We were gonna have a few bands from local churches play like we did last year with Joshua United, a little program we did last year. Some of the churches that have got church bands played a little bit, and then we have this band come in. They're a cover band. They do 70s, 80s, 90s, rock, country, kind of a blend of things. But again, they are available that date, and that has been donated.
Wow, that's awesome. What
So
band?
I don't remember.
It's not Vocal
I
Trash.
don't remember. Vocal Trash is not playing together anymore.
Oh, they're not.
Steve Linder has they haven't separated, but he's gone more of a duet with somebody else. But
Okay.
their website hadn't been updated in 3 or 4 years. I reached out to him, and when you Google Vocal Trash, go to their website, you get Linder and something, whoever this other person is. So I can't find, even the booking agency doesn't list them anymore that we went through. So I don't think they're out there, at least at the moment. So this whole purpose was to go through and see. I know some of you guys had expressed interest in doing this again, taking a look at it. Those are the options that we have found, and I just need to know if there's interest in moving forward to allocating the funds for that. Yes, ma'am.
What date are you planning
It should
this
be July the 3rd.
Wednesday?
Yep. We do it the day before the holiday so that all of the staff actually get the holiday. A lot of them would work the event, would have to work it on that day. And Burleson and Cleveland do such big productions, we couldn't compete
And
with.
it's cheaper on the
And when you come off of that holiday, it's quite a bit cheaper. July 4th is the most expensive day for fireworks, and some of these light shows could just, that New Year's Eve seem to be the 2 big times when the prices go crazy.
So what's the cost factor on the labor?
So we're
thing?
talking about the $30,000 neighborhood for drones, $20,000 neighborhood for lasers, and probably 12 to 15 for fireworks.
Drones be, where would you see the drones?
They will fly them up, right, if we're in the stadium, they'd fly them right up above the stadium. They're a couple 100 feet up in the air, and so they've got different colored lights on them, and they've got one guy controlling them, a computer controlling them. They're all cord It's, I can send you the link to them. It's a pretty little deal, and they do it to music. You can play the music through the stadium, and that guy will be there running they'll all take off they'll need a place to set them up. Probably would set them up at the parking lot behind the visitor parking behind the stadium, or whichever one of the parking lots we're not using. There's a lot of areas over there. We can set them up on the practice fields, or they just need a place so they can lay them out in rows. And then they fly them up and they fly to where they're gonna do the show, and they hit go and off they go. Pretty neat. But it's expensive.
Well, both of them are.
Both of
drones
them are
or the
expensive.
lasers?
You know, I used to think that the laser light would be more dramatic and people would like more. It would be busier, more light, more stuff. I don't know that I still think that way. Looking at the drones, you know, it's pretty impressive.
You know, I could get some sponsors, but I know I couldn't get $30,000 worth.
Yeah, no, I don't think at this late in the game that even some of the larger sponsors we used to get in the past. I don't know. I mean, there might be a few local that would help with some of it. I don't know that we would get, I don't think we would get the whole 30, but I mean, this late in the game, I'm not sure we'd even get half, but we would try to get what we could get and make up the difference here.
How's our budget?
Budget-wise, you're in good shape. You've got a healthy fund balance. There are some funds that are in there now that could be used for that. There's not enough to cover it. But there's some advertising money and stuff like that that could meet this. I believe we'll run it by and make sure that we're using it for the right purpose, but we can't use type A. Type A is not allowed to do it, but type B is because of the parking.
So you said we don't have enough to cover all of it.
I'm sorry?
You said we don't have enough to cover all of it.
Oh,
Is
no,
that
no.
what
Well, not in the current budget. We'd have to amend it. We'd do an amendment at the end of the year to make up the difference. You currently have plenty in your fund balance to do it. But I
you
want
want to spend it all?
I want to remind you guys that, you know, we've talked about pickleball courts and expanding park property. You can do a lot with
That's true, that's true.
So, and that's, I mean, that's something to consider. And I can't tell you how much we will be able to raise, to go towards it. So I just don't know. But it doesn't make a lot of sense to go through several hours in the afternoon of doing something if we're not going to cap it with some sort of an event that evening, whether it's laser, fireworks, or whatever. Yes, ma'am.
For the vendor setup and so forth, that'd be during the day? What's the hours on that?
It would be early evening or late afternoon, early evening hours. Try to get it to where there's some shade underneath there. What time did y'all have scheduled for y'all?
We're gonna start the vendors at 4, and you gave us a really good breakdown of the schedule. What- Yeah. Yeah. And you had the ROTC right before that. Did you say that and I didn't pay attention? And then we had a little parade before that.
The drones will make an American flag too.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh.
So I sent out, a couple of things to, I think, you guys on the board. I don't know if I had your email address or not. You may not have been, well, if you get an email, you weren't included, asking about drones versus the cost of them or whatever it was. I know we talked about some options. I heard back from two people. That was, Dustin and Bill.
I don't think I got one.
Why didn't send one to you? Cause I knew what your answer was gonna be.
Huh?
I knew you were all in, so I didn't need to send you.
Oh, okay.
I think you're the person that started this whole conversation.
Huh? Oh, okay.
So, I guess it's really up to y'all, just, how much you wanna. I think we can make successful whatever we do, but, the biggest challenge is gonna be if the end result is fireworks, that I'm not sure how that's gonna. And I know I don't have anywhere I can set them off from where the stadium, well, it'd be on private property, and we've done that before, and that was a problem, so that option doesn't exist anymore. But it's really, I think the only true options we have are between the drones and the laser light, if you wanna do that.
Could hotel motel help on this situation? Thanks.
I don't think so, because I think we'd have a hard time getting the head in the bed requirement. I guess if
What?
one of the caveats to use, hot tax funding is it has to promote economic development, it has to put heads in the bed,
Okay, gotcha.
increase the guests in local places. Now, I guess if, we rented a room over there for them, we've always talked in the, well, never mind.
Okay.
That could be where we send the person, but I don't think one room would qualify. Well, there's plenty for that. We do have that sound stage still coming that we ordered. It won't be here in time for this, but there's funding to cover it. I just don't think this would, I know they told us to stop using it for 4th of July, but it didn't meet the requirement.
Like, to me, I mean, it's either drones or laser, and we're looking at $10,000 more. We're going from 20 to 30 if we go with the drones. Right? That's where we are.
Correct.
And since I have never seen a show, I don't know, it's kind of hard to judge what that should be. But I guess my point being here is, if we're gonna spend 20,000, I don't have a problem with going on to 30,000 to have the drones, if that's a better show. And I just don't know, if anybody has seen that, I don't know if it's a better show than a laser show or not.
I've seen it on TV. It looked impressive on TV, but I can just imagine it's gonna be really impressive in person.
Yeah, all I've seen is videos. I haven't, you put one up there?
In the end here, are we gonna need that $10,000? Do we need it for the other purpose in the end?
If what I understand you're asking me is if doing this will prevent those other projects from happening, the answer is no. It will affect your fund balance, obviously, but it's not gonna stop you, it's not gonna stop us from moving forward with the pickleball and some of the other things that we wanna do, mainly because we're already on that property. That's always the biggest, and utilities, and those are the things that usually hit us pretty hard. Okay, is this the drone?
On the first page of Google, Smite's not be the best for everyone. But for business owners it is. Take my Vintages online store.
You get a second, that's the lens. This is obviously with more than 100 drones.
So do you think the flag has at least, or that last flag has at least 100 drones?
They on their website, they have a 100 show patriotic, the 100 drone thing that you can look at. See if we can find that for you. The same company, my understanding, has just set a Guinness Book of World Records for their last drone show.
Wow. But this is like a very impressive show. Ours won't be like that, right?
Well, it won't be quite as impressive. I think the figures won't be quite this big, but we're gonna find one.
We have any idea what kind of donations we got coming in already? Kim,
You asking me?
Yeah.
No,
you have any
not
idea?
yet, because I don't know what to advertise for. But I have people lined up, and I'm going for like a title sponsor, maybe $2,000. And I can have more than one title sponsor. I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna go more than 2,000.
I think this is the show that was done over Reunion Tower, or the one what you were fixing to see. So let me give you an example of the laser stuff here.
That's the laser. That's pretty cool. And that goes on for how long?
As long as we want it.
That's good. Oh, well.
So for $20,000, the laser show, how long would it last?
We've talked to him about 25 to 30 minutes is kind of what's been happening. When we've used the football field, when we're doing fireworks, we've learned that after about 15 minutes, you lose the kids. And when they get up and start moving around and rooting around, it gets to be a problem. And so we've tried to keep them
Okay.
scaled back to 20, 25 minutes. And
How will the weather affect all this?
the weather would affect the attendance. I'm told it won't really affect the show itself. But they all typically we will pick a second day as a rain day,
Okay.
that they would come out and do. The drones are obviously going to be limited to wind and things like that, but storms on July the 4th or July 3rd aren't very common, so we're getting them all this month, I think.
Oh, so you're the one who's got all the rain coming in now so that it'll be dry then?
No, actually, I would rather drag it out a little bit because I think July the 3rd, we're going to be hollering for rain and not getting it.
If we can't raise the money through sponsorships for this, what other activities can we do to raise funds?
Well, as far as doing something to specifically raise funds, there's probably not time to do.
Well, I
You
don't
talking about
mean
like a
before.
fundraiser specifically?
Well, yeah, if we can't before, the money's there to use it, but in order to replenish the funds, is there anything that you've done in the past or that can be done? Or?
We have not done any fundraising for Type B specifically Because we've always started these projects actually been, well, a lot of times didn't even involve TAP. The chamber and local businesses were able to do the funding. The chamber was able to raise the money. They had the time to, with Chesapeake, back during the gas boom, Chesapeake Energy was here and, they'd write $25,000-$30,000 checks to do these things just to get their name put out there. We usually can get money from HEB, Walmart, but you have to write these people and ask for them. And time is where we are now. So I don't know that we can, if we take something on like this next year, we've got lots of time. We can actually do a proper fundraising program and find donations and sponsors. And we would go outside of the city. We're going to get people from outside the city in here to watch it. We've always had good crowds turn out for these things. It's just a matter of
Well,
which
I
we do.
thought we had already decided that we were going to do something. We just hadn't decided what.
Right. I think the desire to do something is there. But just my personal opinion is if we're gonna go from 4 to dark and then stop, that doesn't make any sense. We should be doing something after dark.
I'm impressed with that laser show.
So
That's the first time I'd say, do you like it?
that's just my thought.
What do you all think about the laser?
I don't care. I don't care what it is, but I just think we should do something.
I think that the laser is, I'm leaning towards the laser show myself. And mainly, Kim, because of, it's $10,000 cheaper and we'll have just a good show maybe. On the other hand, I would like to see the drones. I think
Yeah, but
that could be a better show.
Better draw.
Well, we could always do drones next year.
That's it.
Maybe we prepare for the drone show. Maybe this year since we're doing this, fireworks is out of the question. I think fireworks is over, maybe forever. Could be. I guess for this year, I'd lean for the laser show myself for this year because of,
And this is another reason why is because what Mike said, 100 drones isn't gonna be as spectacular as what we saw in that video. That video with the laser, I thought is that what we get? Exactly what?
Well, my understanding is they would come out, they'll take a look at the area that they're gonna be, and they would actually put the boxes that do the laser lights, they would set them up on top of the press box, up on top of the bleachers. They would actually shine, a lot of them would come down towards the field. They would do a stadium show, and we're trying to find a little bit of an example of that to see here, where a lot of the stuff, they might drape the scoreboard up there and put a cover on it and do specific images up there.
Yeah.
It just depends on the area.
But the $20,000 would cover all the extra things that they need to set it all up. That includes everything, right?
Yeah, I think,
There's nothing extra.
At the hotel room.
I think there's extra things obviously they have a list of things that we can do, but, let me go back here and look and see what all, this is.
That's a lot of money spend. Are we gonna have enough money to put pickleball courts in, this year? We keep talking about them, but that 20,000 would go a
There-
long way to put pickleball courts in.
The money for the pickleball is not in this year's budget. It would be in next year.
even if we didn't do the 20,000, we don't have the money in this year to put the pickleball courts in for this year.
We don't.
We don't,
Not in the budget.
not in the budget.
And your fund balance has it, but
Yes.
we need to do a public hearing, get it approved. You have to have a public hearing to spend those funds for that. And then it goes to council for approval, and then we can do it. But you have the fund balance. You can do it if you want to add it to the budget. We'll just make the amendment at the end of the year.
So what do you figure the cost of the pickleball court is?
Oh, I have no idea. We're still getting getting that figured out with what surface to use and,
You know, we got the perfect surface right now. The parking ride, which is never used, could be striped off for pickleball courts, okay?
yeah.
I mean, a couple of them anyway, if nothing else.
Well, I'm doing a meeting on the 12th to discuss with a playground company or a park builder company, a pickleball complex or court area. So just kind of exploring different options, places we can put it. So we're meeting with them later on this month.
There's an indoor pickleball facility coming to Burleson also.
Okay, I understand that.
I don't think it's gonna matter for us here,
Right.
but
But we'll know more about pricing in the next meeting.
yeah, I've got some feelers out and we've got measurements, but there's different things you can use for the surface and, I mean, these things you can even have made portable, and you can set them up and move them around. I don't really wanna get too much into that, cause every time you take them apart, put it together, things get broken and we don't have the staff to chase all of it. Lights at night would be a problem. I'd rather put the things in the ground and leave them. But the parking ride is a perfect example of where to do it because the parking is already there and available. I just don't know if we can, I'd have to do some checking to see if we could stripe off part of that because that parking ride had a lot of state and federal money with it. I'm not sure that we can use it for anything else. I just have to check and see. We may could, but a lot of times there's restrictions with state and federal money. You can't change it up. And the $20,000 is a 30-minute show. What their agreement says.
Seemed like we threw a big bash downtown, blocked it off, had bands downtown and, you know, just vendors and this year, cause we don't have a lot of time to plan all this. We get money coming in to pay for some of this too.
Is Burleson or Crowley or Cleburne or anybody else doing fireworks?
All
Of the above. Crowley does them the week after July the 4th because they don't want to compete with Burleson. Burleson always has a big hoopla on the 4th. They do a big parade that morning. They have a whole day worth of stuff. And then Crowley does it the following week. Cleburne, Cleburne does it, but I've never been out there, so I don't know exactly.
They do it at the lake.
Well, I'm not sure when. Yeah, they do them out by Hidden Creek.
Yeah.
Neither of them are doing lasers. Or drones, for that matter. Well, North Hills will be doing drones. But that's where the company is, so, you know, I think they get a break.
I would suggest that we go with the lasers.
Is that a motion? Yeah. Because it needs to be voted on and approved.
I'll make a motion that we go with the lasers,
I'll second.
Is there a maximum dollar amount or just?
$20,000.
Just 20,000 in the budget now? Or do we have to amend the budget?
We'll have to amend the budget. May not have to amend it much, we'll have to amend it. Unless somebody comes through with a big donation.
If I get sponsors, do I have to give you guys some money? Just
Do what now? I'm sorry, what'd you say?
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll look for some people specifically for the lasers.
Let me get that. Good stuff.
Well, the only problem, we don't have a lot of time for this. We're about a month shy.
Well, I'm told that they can do it in this length of time.
We will have a contract with them.
Yes,
we'll have a setup date.
I just refuse to sign it until after this meeting, so I've had it for a couple of days. They've been hounding me every day, and I'm gonna keep telling them, nope, not yet, not yet.
So who works on the sponsors for this project if Chamber of Commerce doesn't?
We're gonna work on sponsor for it anyway with the chamber. We're working to find people to sponsor stuff, but we will specifically target a few people for the laser show because
May I
that's
help?
the expense. May you help? Yeah, you can write me a check. How much you wanna help?
Well, not that big of a check,
Oh,
but, I may know some other people, so.
that's fine.
Yes,
I mean,
get all the sponsors.
we don't turn down help from anybody.
With who, well, reason I was asking is, let me know who I need to stay in contact with so that everybody's saying the same thing. I want to be authorized to do it. I'm not gonna do it,
Well,
Carol's out there trying to raise money. Is she really doing it for this or,
well,
so that type of thing?
Molly was told to volunteer to help with us, and Amber's helping too, because of, she's just.
Volunteered or voluntold?
That was what. it
That
was.
the last one.
She was ordered to volunteer, but she's very busy too, and she's actually gonna be at a conference all next week, so, or no, this week, you're leaving tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't wanna straddle her. I mean, they can always call me here, they can call Alice here if they have questions, if they need our 501c3 stuff.
Okay, and also, do you have a form that you're using to pull this for requests?
We do not,
Can one be created?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll do it in the form of probably like something like a brochure.
That'd be good.
An example of what we're trying to do, let them see kind of what it's gonna look like.
Okay.
But yeah, give me a few days to get one put together. I'll reach out and get. We got some people that are pretty good.
Good. I'm good at talking to people, so I'll do what I can.
And we appreciate it. No, we're like a church, we never miss the opportunity to collect money.
Mr. Chairman, you have a motion on the floor and a second.
I want to accept it.
We'll carry on as proceeded.
I said I ain't accepted it yet. Any further discussion? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Four? Okay. Motion passes. Yeah, yes. Okay, we'll move on. Discuss and consider action on terminating all further construction in the park by Noah's Park and Playgrounds and authorizing the city attorney to contact representatives and or counsel of the company. Mr. Peacock.
So Steve has, ain't gone well above and beyond trying to reach out and work for some of these folks. The contractor that's out here doing the work, is, I think in my mind, just very subpar. The people that know us are talking to us when we call them. I think they're trying to get this contractor to do the things that need to be done, but it's not happening. We're way beyond the time they told us this would take. We went for a full 6-week period and nobody showed up to do anything. The only thing I think that's complete is the splash pad. And part of it blew down last week, and as a result of things not being fastened properly. We've got damage to the play structures, things that have been broken off of them, people getting on them before they were ready. We've had to put a fence up around them to keep people off. Steve has some concerns, I know, and he's got some examples for you on some problems that he's found. And what really troubled me, what has prompted me to move this way is, when they told him about making some of the repairs, they would just weld something onto it and move something over. And when we start welding onto this engineered stuff, you lose your warranties with it. And I think that's just not something that we can do. And I think it's time that we bosses and do something to get their attention. Before we could get to engage Terry, we would need y'all's approval, because y'all are the park entity, and, he would need y'all's approval to engage them and start the conversation and try to find either a solution or an end. We have paid out some money, the $100,000 to them. The initial payment is all that they have requested. They've not asked for any payments. And now we have paid for the splash pad because that was a different company that put, that surface down. And the shades
The shades are part of this company.
Shades are part of NOAA, so those are out there. If push come to shove, we've probably got our $100,000 worth of stuff out there plus very easily. We're not gonna lose anything. The problem is finding somebody to come and finish somebody else's work. We're not gonna find that. And I think if we don't get their attention and get some proper solution, we're gonna end up pulling a lot of that stuff up and having to start over.
When were they due to be finished initially?
30 days after receipt of equipment.
Well, that's gone.
I'm sorry? Yeah, it's February. And they've, not that there's been some rain days. We've had a lot of rain, but not that much. There's been weeks that it's been nothing but cool, clear weather, and they just haven't showed up. And even when they do show up, it's a very small crew, 2 or 3 people, not nearly enough to put together what they're doing. So, it's just my recommendation. Steve is gonna give y'all some information. He can answer way better the problems that he's finding out there that I can. And I think he's prepared to do that to answer y'all's questions, but I think that it's time that we, pardon the expression, get them by the neck and get their attention to either get this finished or get gone. I also propose that we not start anything else. We don't start the basketball court. I don't want them to get any deeper with us than where we are now. So we can still buy directly from the flooring manufacturer for the court. We can do that without this contractor. So if it's y'all's desire, we can continue that process. They can, I think, help us find some installers. But I don't think we need to let them start anything new. Till we get this resolved. Steve, you got some stuff you want to share?
So I laid out some pictures for y'all. The first few pictures are the posts along with levels. There's a sample post off of each structure. Shows and demonstrates how far off straight and vertical these posts are, which will cause problems with the structure overall in the long run. Posts not being straight and vertical that are load bearing, it causes undue strain on the overall structure, and you can have parts fail prematurely, which can result in somebody getting hurt. You have 2 pictures of a web climber. I'll hold my side up. You got 2 of them. One is the upper side of this tube climber, and one is the lower side. If you look at the bottom of the green fence panel looking thing, you'll notice that there's 1 tab where there should be 2. Those tabs were broken off during installation. And this is the part the installer suggested that we simply weld on a new piece. That goes against ASTM standards and will void any warranty.
ASTM, for them that don't know is what?
ASTM is an organization that sets the standard across many different industries, including parks and rec and playgrounds. A lot of the shipping and receiving industries, a lot of the OSHA stuff follows ASTM standards. And that is the standard that the NRPA, the National Parks and Rec, has identified as what is set for playground safety standards across the board. So that is what all playground safety goes by, is ASTM standards.
Is this rust on this right here?
It is. That tab that is rusty was actually bent out and they pushed it back in and put a bolt in it. So the structural integrity is compromised with that. After those pictures, you have a picture of kind of the front along the wall, the concrete wall. Every feature that is on that side of the large playground structure violates ASTM standards for the use zones. The use zone is the area in front of a structure or a feature that should be free and clear of any obstacles or debris. So slides, you need open space for kids to come out the slide. Climbing features, they need to be clear, so if anybody falls, they don't hit anything. Then I added the measurements from the feature to the brick wall. The minimum measurement for most of these features should be 72 inches. The most hazardous climber is this first one you see on the picture with the playground. That is the most hazardous, it is the tallest, and it is the only feature that kids can climb on the outside of the feature, which poses more of a fall risk. That feature is only 66 inches from the concrete curb, violating ASTM standards. With the slides, the green slide is 71 inches, so it is an inch shy. It's close, but not quite. The tan slide is 62 inches, which is significantly shy of the 72-inch mark, and I believe that hand slide may be longer than 72 inches, which would be another set of use zone dimensions. But there is a formula to calculate that. I just did not do that today because minimum it should be 72 inches and it is. Several other things I've noticed with the merry-go-round. The size of merry-go-round that we have, they installed it too close to the concrete edge. They put that at 72 inches and that should actually be at 108 inches because it is more than 20 inches from the center of the pivot. So from the center of the merry-go-round, it's too big to be that close to the wall. When talking to the installers, they did acknowledge that the structure overall is too big for the space that was provided. And he was recommending that we modify the concrete border around it to fit the playground that they put there. So they knew it was too small for the space, they chose to put it in anyway. Talk about the broken mounting brackets. A lot of the features are scuffed up and scraped, that there's been a lot of careless handling of the equipment. When I brought that to the attention of the playground folks, they did suggest that we would have to pay to have those parts replaced if we don't like that it's scuffed up and scraped. A lot of it is cosmetic, but for the amount of money we're paying for this playground, that's really kind of becomes an issue. If anybody has any questions on any of this stuff.
Steve, the playground equipment that we purchased it from.
Yeah.
The contractor, construction contractor, they are separate, it's a separate contract with them but this is the playground company recommended them to do this?
They hired them, and
They hired them.
they hired them and they're paying them.
They're paying them, so we're paying the playground equipment for this.
Yeah.
Okay. All
We
right.
haven't yet, but
Yeah.
we will at some point.
And then when I was out there today, I found roughly about 50% of the posts on the playground are crooked. I did the shade structures as well, which was installed by the same company. About 70% of those are off center on some way, shape or form. On the larger structure, it's more severe. There's a post on the splash pad that is very far off straight. It's visibly crooked. You can see it from the road. So that will have to be fixed. It doesn't look like it's going to fall down anytime soon. It just needs to be straightened back up so it doesn't fall down in the future. The supports on the slides are not straight either. That's 100% on every slide. There's a support that holds the end of the slide up. Those should be straight and vertical. Not a single one is, but they're all crooked. So in the long run, it's gonna cause premature warping of the slide. And when we have to replace it, because inevitably we would, it's gonna make repairs a lot more difficult, putting it into a crooked stand versus a straight stand. And there's some other stuff that the installation company has been doing, causing a little bit of damage to our park and with no effort to try to repair anything they've messed up to the park. So me and my guys are kind of following them around every time they're here, repairing everything that they've torn up, keep it safe for the general public to use the rest of the park. And I do have pictures of everything, if anybody wants to get with me and see some of the other stuff I'm referring to. I think that is the main problems I'm seeing. That the ASTM violations is very concerning to me. That's what's gonna get us in trouble in the future. If someone was to get hurt and file a lawsuit, we would not have a leg to stand on just because it is outside the ASTM standards. So somebody falls, hurts their head, hurts any part of their body, sustains an injury, they sue, they're going to win.
Have you contacted the company we bought the equipment from? What's their answer?
They were a little bit hostile with me when I called them to bring up some other issues. I haven't contacted them about the ASTM standards.
Well, you're talking about the company that sold it. The company that makes it is Chinese, and that's what you're saying.
Yeah, so the manufacturer is out of China. I don't know the name of the actual manufacturing company
I'm talking about the company that actually
that we purchased it from.
purchased
So Noah's Play.
Yeah, we've talked to them a lot.
So I have
What's
talked to
his
them.
answer?
They tell me that it'll all be fixed at the end, and
When is the end?
Yeah, the thing that I got from him when I spoke to him was he was talking about, well, Steve was sent over this big punch list, and, normally when you build a house, you don't get a punch list until the end. And I said, well, this is not a house, it's a playground, that things have to be straight for it to work. And it seems like it's a lot easier to fix it now than after it's all bolted together. He disagrees and thinks that, well, we fix all these things in the end. But again, if fixing them means welding a bracket onto it, I don't think that's what we wanna do. I think every time we do that, we're gonna lose the warranty on that product.
I fully agree with you. You've given us enough facts, in my opinion, to point this. This is ridiculous.
We don't have a contract with him, so we can't make him hold up to anything. So it's
And it
time,
works two ways. He can't really make us hold up to anything either.
it's time to cut him loose and
But I think, Terry believes that, he doesn't think that they will give us much pushback because they have to come here to do it. They're an Oklahoma-based company. If we filed any action, it would be filed here. And which it's just part of it. But I think initially I think we need to put this guy on notice that the contractor he's using is not acceptable. And this is gonna stop until.
what he's bringing in here is not up to standard because it's being broken off.
Well, I mean, yeah, this stuff kind of has to be replaced. I think it just has to be replaced. And there should not be any discussion on who pays for it, quite frankly. But I don't think we're gonna get anywhere with him. I think we gotta step up and make him make him understand that we're serious.
We cut ties with him. What are we gonna do with this stuff sitting up there? What are the residents gonna do for a park?
Well, we will have to step up and put something else back out there. Well, let's start the process over.
But that process has to start all over again.
The process will-
We
this
haven't
stuff,
got
I think,
anything out
has to-
there the citizens can use at this point, so.
Well, some of this stuff can be pulled out and, I mean, some of it might be salvageable somewhere. I don't know. I don't think that we're gonna get another company to come in here and finish putting that together correctly.
nobody would wanna take the
That won't be
So,
responsible.
Playground installers also have to have a ASTM and RPA playground installing certification. I don't see anybody else risking their own certification. There's parts that have already been modified and that are broken on this playground. I don't see anybody else coming in here to finish it. And I was informed from the installer this past week that not all the parts for this playground are even here yet. So that's part of the holdup. It's been 9 weeks since the playground's been worked on. Uh, and it's 6 weeks for the shade structures. So we are currently sitting at 9 weeks with nothing happening on the playground.
The open pathways that need to be cemented in, we'll finish that.
I'm going to have them stop it at the fence, for now, but I'm gonna have them pour the initial paths, pathway around the restroom, and then some picnic table pads out in the fields. I have 2 of those going in. I'm gonna have them finish those, but I'm gonna stop pretty much where the fence is now at the park, around the playground. Stop there until we
Have
figure
them
out
do
what
it, or
exactly
we
we're
gonna
doing
take it
with
on our
this.
own and get it done?
I'm sorry, sir?
You gonna have them do it, or you gonna take it on our own and get it done?
The concrete company is a different contractor altogether. He's been doing us good so far, so keep using him.
You're saying that the concrete near the slides and merry-go-round and so forth, the slabs are too close. What can be done about that?
The structure can't be moved without being completely disassembled and pulled out of the ground. And if we moved the opposite way, we'd have that exact problem on the other side. So if we were to leave this structure in place, we would have to tear out that concrete wall and re-pour some type of a border around the playground in those areas.
Wasn't that noticed before the concrete? Which came first, the concrete or the playground?
Concrete, because that was the
Concrete's been
border.
there since the park was built.
Was it not noticed that maybe that wouldn't work using that?
It was noticed. and what
They
they-
just,
There was
They
nobody
just-
down there to oversee the job that it was done. They just
nobody-
left
Their
it in.
plan has always been to take out the concrete.
the playground company discovered that the measurements were off when they started building or assembling the playground. They had mentioned it, so I talked to the the owner of the installation company, and I kind of got a don't look over here answer. And they continued to build it, and then last week when speaking with them, they acknowledged that they knew it was gonna be too big for the space. So I don't know if the intention was to make us spend more money on modifying this concrete wall or leaving it as is and hope nobody notices. I'm not sure what the intentions are. All I know is the way it sits now is a violation of ASTM standards.
Well, it appears we're gonna have to take out that wall as it is. To enlarge it a little bit to make everything fall within specifications.
If we were to leave this playground in place.
You're not gonna dig up all that playground equipment, right?
Somebody else starts new, if we have to get somebody else new, like Mike said, he's not gonna wanna fix
We
it
would
all.
have to pull this out if we were to get a different company out and start over.
Is all of that bad?
It is.
That's sad.
So in other words, we're gonna go a whole summer without any playground?
At this point, that is a very good possibility.
Well, I don't think that's gonna, how are we gonna keep people out of there?
Fence around it right now.
Huh?
Got a locked fence around it right now that we had to let up.
The fence is bolted together. The entrances have chain and lock on it, so it's not accessible to the public.
What equipment isn't there? What's still out, not the
Mostly it's the hardware to finish assembling it. I'm not sure what all other pieces they're missing, but I know for sure some of the hardware, some of the brackets that go around the posts that hold on the panels, on the top levels are missing. I think, that's the bulk of it.
But in essence, we haven't paid for the playground equipment because they're paying for it and they're getting paid for it from us.
We gave them $100,000 deposit when we placed the order and did the park stuff. That was all they asked for. Because all the stuff we were asking for was color specific. It was being made for our design,
Okay,
or
so
for our color scheme. But we have not paid anything else to Noah's Playground. Now, we have paid who did Splash Pad? Craftsman. Yeah. Craftsman, the people that built the splash pad that's there, also refurbished it. They redid the flooring, they redid all the wiring, put new implements and stuff out there. We paid for that.
Okay.
We dealt with them directly.
They paid to have a fence put up.
We paid for the fence directly.
So what would we actually owe this company?
Depends on what we kept. If the shade structures are all completely installed, all the ones that are gonna go in the park,
Are they in good
Uh,
shape?
those are. We would have to do some extra work to straighten out the posts. We could do that on our end. It's 149,000 and some change, so round up to 150,000 for just the shade structures. So we would still need to pay them for the shade structures. We have 9 benches.
Does that include shades over the playground equipment too?
Yes. Yep.
And those are not there.
They have all of it up. Actually, you can see it in that picture right there, the blue on top. That's the
Oh, it
shade.
is over the
Yeah.
playground, okay.
So they did get that up last week. So all the shade structures are in place. So I don't have a problem with keeping those.
Didn't they rip though this last weekend?
They did not rip, they did not bolt the top to the posts.
Oh.
So during one of the storms, the wind blew the top off of the post. And luckily there was nobody out there. It was raining cats and dogs, so nobody got hurt, thankfully. But we did close the park because that's a big attention draw. Kids want to go to the splash pad even when it's not on. It's very colorful. There's some kind of neat things out there to look at. So we just closed the whole park for 2 days while I got this company to come out and put it back up. There is one post that's lifting out of the ground completely that would need to be
On the shade structure?
over the splash pad. It doesn't look like it's going to fall over, but every time there's a good wind, the ground has been so soft that the entire post raises 2 or 3 inches up out of the ground.
That's it, concrete?
It is set in concrete. I don't think they went deep enough with it. So if we were to terminate this, I would get the manufacturer to come out and take a look at it and give a recommendation on what we can do to fix it, and then I'd do that.
Got them loose and let them beg for their money.
That's what we're getting ready to get to work on. Once we get y'all's approval to get him started on them, then we will, we'll get him either come in one night during the meeting or soon then go into executive session and get information from him that he can kind of go over what to expect, how he thinks it's gonna go through that process with you before we start pulling things up. But you'll get to make it, I think there'll be another decision for y'all to make about pulling things out of the ground and just how aggressive we're gonna be once he makes initial contact.
Wasn't he initially concerned about just stopping it until we figure out no further stuff being put in?
Yeah, everything stops. We would stop everything right now.
That's like the first decision was to stop them until we figure out exactly.
Entertain a motion to, I guess, direct the attorney to write a letter however you wanna work, cease and desist.
Well, I think if you give us some language.
Yeah, kind of like the agenda item. Terminate all further construction in a park, find those park and playgrounds, and authorize the city attorney to contact representatives and or their council of confidence.
Make the motion.
I second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
All opposed? Say nay. I guess it passes unanimously. Okay, anybody have future agenda items or requests to be placed on the next agenda?
I have one question for you guys before you do this. Y'all or while you're doing this. You're very close to your next regular meeting. Do you want to schedule that one or do you want to skip it? Because your next regular meeting would be next week.
Would you have,
Is there anything to place on that next regular meeting? I mean,
We will place something if y'all choose to meet.
I mean,
would you have enough information to bring back?
I doubt it.
Okay.
No,
how you feel, Mr. Walden?
I don't see any need for it next week.
Bill?
I don't either.
Faces. Carol? We're happy to be here.
Don't see a need.
Yep.
Tim?
I don't either, so I guess not. I mean, there was something pertinent bit on there to discuss and okay.
I mean, if some
Well, we had
life-changing
that letter,
event
yeah.
happened, we'd rail it back in just like we did this time.
Do we need to go into, executive session for anything? We do.
There's no executive session.
Well, okay, just sit here, you know.
We probably will put that on your next agenda though, so that we can have Terry visit y'all about.
Okay.
By then, I'm sure he will have had time to reach out to them and get some sort of response.
Then we'll adjourn this meeting at 5:07 PM. Thank everybody for coming.
Thank you, Merle.
Thank you. You should, that's all.
No, sir. Carol, nice to meet you.
Like Randy